So today, lads, we are going to be talking a little bit more about the Rookie of the Year vote. And we're going to be talking about the Angel Reese vote and the Angel Reese voter, what logic there is for it. Because I know people are saying like, what's the point of talking about this? But I'm sorry, like everybody ridiculed the Domantas Sabonis voter. The Domantas Sabonis voter got ridiculed in the NBA. Gary Washburn did a media tour when he voted for Carmelo Anthony. And this is worse than them. The only comparison that I can give to Angel Reese fourth in MVP and Angel Reese Rookie of the Year, the only comparison I can give was the dude in 2021 that voted Derrick Rose as the MVP. That is worse, by the way. Derrick Rose came off the bench. That is a worse thing than her, not being Rookie of the Year. Or Angel Reese being Rookie of the Year. So, I'm just going to talk about this right now, and if you guys agree with this, leave a like. We're trying to let's see if we can hit 500 likes on this, and a subscribe would be great. We're trying to become the #1 biggest source of WNBA news, and lads, with the international season, you've seen I've made Nika Mule videos. I'm making videos on a lot of the expansion draft. It's not just going to be fever. We're looking at college basketball. We're doing everything. Don't worry, we're going hard this season, but we got to talk about this because a lot of people are like, oh, it was a vote at a protest. There's no actual logic for this because one team won 7 more games than the other team. Angel Reese didn't play the whole season. She had the worst effective field goal percentage for a power forward center in the WNBA. I think she shot the worst percentage for a big inside the key. I think she shot one of the worst percentages from outside the key in the WNBA. She was a historically great offensive rebounder. She is a historically great offensive rebounder. And the problem is that people are like, oh, defense. Angel Reese stopped playing defense. And I watched these games. When Angel Reese, I'll say this at the start of the year, I was very, very much on when I thought Caitlin Clark was really struggling. I know she's putting up good stats early in the year. I thought when the Sky were 500 at the start of the year, when Mabry was looking good, when Kennedy Carter was coming off the bench, when Elizabeth Williams was there. And Angel Reese's job was to play defense. That's what her job was. She wasn't being force-fed the ball. She hadn't got her first double-double yet. As soon as it became about stat chasing, double-doubles, getting 10 of everything, Angel Reese's game fell off a cliff. She had a couple of good games here or there, but it fell off a cliff. And by her game, I mean what she was good at. A person who has the green light of Angel Reese will have the occasional good shooting game no matter what. So people are like, oh, we saw flashes of it. We saw in these games, look at the percentage she shot. I'm sorry, when a player has a green light, they're going to shoot. There is 4 of what? She played 34, 36 games or something. So let's say 4 of 36 games, she shot the ball well and had 20. So I'm like, okay, so you have the greenest light on the team. You can shoot whatever you want. And in 10% of games, you shot above average. I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. That's not flashes. That's just, I'm sorry, like a broken clock is right twice a day. What Angel Reese was best at, and what she is best at, is defense. She chose not to play it. As soon as the double-double started happening, she's an elite offensive rebounder. And the worst part about it is she stopped running back on defense. She stopped running back on defense. She stopped defensive rebounding half the time because she started leaking out. And then, in fairness, teams trying to stop Kennedy Carter came back and she started defensive rebounding again if she hadn't caught enough. But there were times where she just refused to play defense, which was frustrating because as someone who watched Angel Reese start of the year, I thought she has the potential to be one of the best defensive players at her position. Her hands are quick. She's big. She's strong. She can guard guards. She's a switchable defender. She's really good at that. She is a really, really good defender. She is a really, really good rebounder, especially in the offensive end because she just wants it more and she's got a better nose where the ball is going to land. And she got a really quick second jump and her just instincts and reaction speed are super quick. But the problem is that as the season went on, as the double-double streak started happening, she stopped doing what she was good at in the hunt for exactly 10 points and exactly 10 boards. And nothing else seemed to matter. I'm watching these games. If you're asking me who the best rookie is right now, it's Caitlin Clark, Leni Fibich, Camila Cardoso, Rickea Jackson, Angel Reese. Based on the end of the season. That all changes if you get the version of Angel Reese that is the lockdown defender, and I'm going to give you 6 and 7, and I'm going to lock down your team's best player. Then in my opinion, she starts to creep into that number 2 conversation with Leni Fibic. And by the way, if Leni Fibic played for a team like the Sky or something, she'd be averaging 70 in a game. She'd be Rakia Jackson on better, more efficient. She'd be Rakia Jackson while being a lockdown defender. Basically, that's what Fibic is. Leni Fibic is like, don't get it twisted. Like, Leni Fibic is super. Like, even pre-Olympics, or not pre-Olympics, like post coming back after the Olympics, I put her in the all-star category of players. Like, that's how high I rate Leni Fibic. But, like, as far as it's concerned, there's no reason for her to be Rookie of the Year. There's just not. Like, there's no logic to it. There's absolutely no logic to it. Like, I'm thinking about all these scenarios, and I'm like, oh, could you use on, off, plus, minus? But, like, those were the stats that, like, up until like 5 or 6 games to go, had Celeste Taylor as the best rookie in the WNBA. Like, I remember looking at the LeBron stats. They were like, oh, she's higher in LeBron. I'm sorry, the LeBron stat, whatever the hell that means, it says Christy Wallace is better than De'Arica Hamby. I looked through some of the stats. Like, the stats that have, that have Angel Reese as, they're like, oh, look at these stats, she's better than Caitlin Clark. I looked at them. Some of those stats say that A'ja Wilson is the worst player on the Aces. If you were judging by those like on-off numbers, A'ja Wilson's the worst player on the Aces. Like, they're just mad stats. Like, so I don't believe that. I actually believe, like, no one's going to hear the voters, I fully believe the Kelsey Mitchell 3rd place vote was the Angel Reese 4th place vote. And it was the Breanna Stewart not in their top 5. I'm convinced Kelsey Mitchell 3rd, Angel Reese 4th, De'Arica Hamby 5th was the vote. Or, sorry, did Arike get a 5th place vote? Maybe Arike got a 5th place vote. But my logic is that people are like, oh, the voters are protest. I'm convinced the Angel Reese voter did not watch basketball. Because even at a protest, you can't do this. Because all the Caitlin Clark haters out there, or the people that would at one stage were heavily pushing Angel Reese, they all have come out publicly being like, it's not me. It's not me. Can you please stop? I voted for Caitlin Clark. Like, it's not me. Even the biggest Angel Reese fans, even like the ones that go on Twitter Spaces bashing Caitlin Clark, even they admitted it was like, even the big Chicago Sky podcast, the people that think Caitlin Clark is the second coming of the devil still admitted she was Rookie of the Year. Like, even Shaq, I'm pretty sure, said it. Like, but at the same time, I'm fully convinced the person that voted it didn't watch basketball. It's one of two things. It's either someone who just did not watch the games, or it's someone trying to shit stir. And I think it's the latter. That is my conspiracy theory, is that it is a Caitlin Clark fan. It is a Caitlin Clark journalist. Because the one vote means, like, no offense, like, I will cover anything basketball related that will get views. Obviously, the Fever gets more views. But if you want to look at this channel over the last couple of days, I've talked about the expansion draft. I've made a couple of videos on Nika Mule. I've talked about some A'ja Wilson stuff. I've talked about the playoff viewership's actually doing well. I've talked about the Atlanta Dream coach being fired, the Fenerbahce Besiktas game getting abandoned. Like, look, if you take the amount of videos I put up, the amount of non-Fever videos I put up is still more than any other WNBA channel, like, just in general stuff on basketball, on women's basketball. I still covered most of it. But obviously, the Fever stuff is what's going to get views, and it's what's going to draw clicks. I'm convinced this is a tabloid-esque journalist, and I would not be surprised if it is a journalist that has written an article about it not being unanimous. That's my theory. Like, it's either someone who has not watched basketball. I think it was somebody who wrote an article about how Kelsey Mitchell was given a 3rd place vote. Because I actually think that there are so many weird votes, and you can attribute 3 of them to one person. And I think it could be somebody looking for headline. That's why this needs to be made public, because we need to see who this is. Like, hypothetically, if this voter, let's just say hypothetically, I had a vote. I obviously don't have a vote. But hypothetically, I had a vote. And I'm here making money, making videos out of quote-unquote Caitlin Clark being disrespected articles, because they are what gets the most clicks. Let's be real. They're what gets the most clicks. And I had a vote, and I knew it was going to be anonymous. Like, I probably wouldn't do it, but if I just said, you know what, screw all this, screw giving someone what they deserve, let me create a story so that I can report on the story that I've created, not letting anyone know I create the story, and make more money and generate more clicks. I'd do this. Like, if that's what I want to do, if clicks were the only thing that mattered, and like, yes, and clicks are very important, as you can see by the titles and thumbnails of my videos, but if clicks were the only thing that mattered, I'd do this. I would, because it would generate clicks, it would generate a story. Heck, I'm talking about it right now. Obviously, I don't have a vote. That is my conspiracy theory. It is a Caitlin Clark journalist that did it, which is why this needs to be made public. Because we've seen what happened to Rebecca Lobo. The abuse Rebecca Lobo's gotten because people just believe she's the fourth place voter. Like, nobody knows who the fourth place voter was. I don't even think Aja Wilson knows who the fourth place voter was. She just keeps saying, I know who it is. I think she's just heard, oh, I think it's Rebecca Lobo, and is just, because she wanted some motivation, has just said that. I fully believe nobody knows who the fourth place voter was, but people still talk about it. Just like people are going to still talk about the one Angel Reese voter. For a while. It's going to be talked about. Gary Washburn was talked about. I think this needs to be made public because we can see what it is. So we can see if it's a Caitlin Clark hater journalist. Cool. Revoke their like ability to vote. If it's a Caitlin Clark basically tabloid journalist who their whole livelihood is based around making Caitlin Clark stories and Caitlin Clark being disrespected, on the same note, take away their ability to vote. If it turns out that this is just somebody that is a huge Angel Reese fan and is quoting plus minus and is just delusional about the sport of basketball, then maybe just like consider getting rid of her vote. But like, we don't know if this was in good faith or not. It's highly likely it wasn't in good faith. But I do think, again, that my theory is that it is a clickbait journalist who knows that they're going to be able to make some money off this clickbait for 3, 4, 5 articles. And you know what? If it is one of those guys from me to you, I wouldn't have done it. I've got a little bit more ethics to that, but you may not. So thank you, because I can report on it freely now because I'm not the idiot that did it. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.